Woodstock Soapstone Company. This is Linda. May I help you? Based on what you've told me, I think the stove will heat your whole house. It will easily burn overnight. If you load it at night, there'll be a thick bed of coals and lots of heat in the morning.
Good morning, Woodstock Soapstone Company. This is Lois speaking. How may I help you? Yes, that's right. All of our stoves are built right here in our West Lebanon factory. Our craftspeople spend a lot of time carefully matching the color and grain of the soapstone panels in each stove. Because the grain and color in the stone varies, each stove is unique and a little different from any other. They're great heaters and also beautiful pieces of furniture. The castings have nice detail, and the design and proportions work well with most decor. As nice as they look in the literature, they look even better in person.
Woodstock Soapstone Company, this is Sue. Oh, absolutely. We welcome visitors anytime. We're located on the border of Vermont and New Hampshire in West Lebanon. And that's right at the junction of Interstate 91 and 89. We're about, 5 hours north of New York City, and that's a 2.5-hour drive from Boston. Our factory and showroom are in the West Lebanon Airport Business Park. That's right. And we're open 9 to 5. That's Monday through Saturday. Yeah, please plan to come and visit us. You know, a lot of folks take us up on our invitation.
These stoves are really beautiful. They're a lot nicer than I had imagined.
They sure are different than a lot of the wood stoves we've seen. I like this grain.
Here's someone we can talk to.
Hi, welcome to Woodstock Soapstone. Thanks for coming to visit us. I can answer any questions you might have about our stoves.
We've seen your ads in a lot of magazines, and
We'd like to know how the stoves are actually made. And we were in the area, so we decided to stop by.
Well, I'm glad you did. We build the stoves right here, so I can show you our finished stoves and how they're made. All the stoves we make are on display here. The Keystone, the Fireview, the Palladian, and the Classic. Let's look at these stoves first, and then I'll take you for a tour of the factory.
that's great. I have a silly question. Why soapstone?
It's not a silly question at all. We have a lot of good reasons for using soapstone. If you step this way, I can show you a couple. First of all, soapstone is very durable. Take a look at this antique stove. It's over 125 years old and still a great heater. See, soapstone is beautiful. It's incredibly durable and heats much longer than metal. See, soapstone holds twice as much heat per pound as cast iron or steel and continues to give off heat for long periods of time, even after the fire dies down. Soapstone stoves have been built in New England for almost 200 years. Since those old stoves have lasted so long and performed so well, we use many of the same construction techniques. The traditional double walls of soapstone are fitted into a decorative but durable cast iron frame. Many soapstone stoves built this way 150 years ago are still in use today. In fact, there are almost 1,000 of these antique stoves, all over 100 years old, that are still heating homes in central Vermont and New Hampshire today.
We've always had two soapstone stoves, one in the L of the house and one in the main section of the house. We have used these stoves for between 30 to 40 years and have always found them very satisfactory. Years ago we had a store, and in the store, general type store, we had a tremendously large round oak. It probably stood about 6 foot tall. But there again, the heat would go up and down with when you put in the wood. Whereas the soapstone stove, when you load it, it's probably warm in the first place, and the heat will stay constant even though the wood itself is burning out and goes back to ashes. The heat will be held in here for 2 or 3 hours afterwards.
Our stoves really are the best of old and new. Only we've added a few new twists to take advantage of modern technology. We've installed internal baffles and catalytic combustors to increase efficiency and make the stoves clean burning. We've installed large ceramic windows so you can see the fire. This is our newest model, the Keystone. This has the look and feel of a fireplace combined with the clean burning efficiency of a modern wood stove.
It even looks like it has andirons.
Yeah, you're right. They help keep the wood away from the glass so that you can fill the firebox for an all-night burn.
What keeps the glass so clean?
All of our stoves have double layers of ceramic glass with an airspace in the middle. The airspace keeps the inner glass hot and free of condensation. The Palladian and the Keystone have very large glass fronts. So on those two models, we also use an air wash system to keep a steady flow of air falling across the glass, literally washing smoke and gases away from the front of the window. Some other new features on the Palladian and Keystone include a slide-out ash pan that makes removing ashes from the stove convenient and neat, and a reversible flue. This lets you install the Palladian and the Keystone either as a freestanding stove or in front of a fireplace.
That would be great in our place. We found it almost impossible to get much usable heat from our fireplace. It would be much more efficient to hook up a stove.
I think so, yeah.
Well, they all look great, but do they really heat?
Well, the Keystone is rated for 10 to 45,000 BTUs per hour. That translates into heating a small house or 4 to 5 rooms. It has a good-sized firebox, and these andirons let you fill it right up. It'll easily hold a fire for over 8 to 10 hours. The catalytic combustor really adds to the heating efficiency of the stove.
I'm curious, how does that combustor really work?
It's easy to see where the combustor is located on this fire view. The top opens up, and you can see where the combustor is. It's right there. All of our stoves have internal catalytic combustors. Catalytic stoves are the most efficient and cleanest burning stoves available today. Here's how the combustor works. Room temperature air enters the stove through the sliding air damper on the loading door, providing oxygen so the wood will burn. The heat from the fire is absorbed by the soapstone walls of the stove. The smoke and combustible gases created by burning wood are drawn up through the catalytic combustor, where they're burned. This creates additional heat that is captured in this secondary heating chamber. A stove equipped with a catalytic combustor is not only a cleaner burning stove, but it's also a more efficient heater. You use less wood, you get more heat from your wood, and you generate less ash and creosote in your chimney. This might be a good time to go to the assembly area, and Tom can show you how these stoves are built. Why don't you follow me? Hi, Tom. I was giving Jason and Melissa here a tour of the factory. I was wondering if you could tell them how the stoves are built.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. We've just got to finish fitting this baffle, and I'll be right with you in a second. Before each stove is assembled, a craftsman will carefully match soapstone panels so the grain and color complement each other. This is an important part of the stove builder's art. Next, the panels are carefully cut for a tight fit into the stove frame. We build each stove right on its shipping pallet, so we start from the bottom and work our way up. All of our stoves are built with double walls of stone. The inside layer, or liner, is over an inch thick. The outside layer has a polished exterior surface and is about 3/4 of an inch thick. There is a thin airspace between the layers to even out the heat. Once the body of the stove is built, the joints are sealed with a special furnace cement to ensure airtightness and long burning. Then the baffles and catalytic combustors are installed. These boost efficiency and almost eliminate pollution. The catalytic combustor is actually pretty simple. It's a ceramic honeycomb coated with platinum and other precious metals. When smoke passes through the combustor, both gases and combustible particles are burned. This not only makes the stove clean burning, but it creates lots of additional heat, since the secondary burning actually takes place inside the stove. Our Fireview and Classic are designed for long burning and primary heat. They each have a fire brick lined base, so they'll hold hot coals for a long time. The firebox is deep enough so you'll only have to remove ashes about every 10 to 12 days. The Palladian and Keystone have a slotted grate in the base with an ash pan below. When the stove is finished, it's sealed with plastic and then wrapped with a corrugated liner. Then it's crated in wood to eliminate any possibility of damage in transit. Notice that the stove is still on the same wood base that it was built on. Even though our stoves are heavy, they're relatively easy to move with a pallet lifter or a two-wheel dolly. Although many people pick their stoves up here at the factory, we ship to customers in all 50 states. We use several major trucking companies, and we can deliver to almost 600 truck terminals nationwide, as well as almost any business address. We can deliver a stove almost anywhere in the continental United States within a week. So you end up with a stove that's durable, clean burning, very efficient, and good looking too.
I'm sold on the looks of these stoves. Now, if they perform as well as you say.
Well, don't take our word for it. Why don't I take them out to the showroom and I'll let them read some of the letters from our customers?
I think that's a great idea.
Dear Woodstock, I am much impressed. Everything you said was true. Amazing.
It does just what the ads say. The way it's made, the draft is able to keep the glass clean, and you really have the actual feeling of having an open fireplace in your house, and I find that very attractive. I do live in a cold part of the world, and this stove has proven to be more than sufficient to keep my house warm throughout this past winter, which has been, in particular in January, it's the third coldest January on record. And it's been a real old-fashioned New England winter, and the stove has been remarkable. It really has. It's done a great job.
Jason, listen to this one.
My wife and I purchased 2 Soapstone stoves. One of them she and I used to heat our house. The second stove we purchased because my oldest boy, Kevin, was hurt in a sledding accident and was refined to a wheelchair. The reason we chose the Soapstone stove was the mere fact that the heat is very even and continuous. There's all kinds of warmth there that is generated hour after hour.
With electricity up in the woods here, you lose power and you're totally helpless, but this fills a great void, not only for the heat, but keeps your stomach full also. We've done soups, eggs, bacon, steaks, baked potatoes. There's a compartment in the upper part of the stove that houses the catalyst, and it's great for baking potatoes. You lift the lid, throw a couple potatoes in with aluminum foil around them, and 25 minutes later you got excellent baked potatoes.
Everyone comments on how great these stoves heat.
When we bought the house a year ago, the house had been abandoned for 23 years. It had been inhabited strictly by squirrels and rodents and stray cats. This is a Victorian home, and we wanted a stove that would fit into the house. The size of the stove is very good for our needs. We have only a small space in this room, and we didn't want a stove that would overpower us in here, and yet it heats the other rooms on the floor as well. It's a gentle, even heat. We lit the stove the day we got it, October 30th, and it has not been out since then. And we've used 3 matches. That's it. That's all you need. 3 matches. We remove the ashes in this stove twice a week. It goes 24 hours a day. As I said, the stove is not out, and there are no clinkers in the ashes. It's a very fine powder. I can't say enough good things about this stove.